Hello, this is John McBride. I'm giving my presentation, or giving my video about my presentation regarding the StrengthsFinder assessment. And right now I'm in the library hoping nobody walks in on me, so I'll try and get it done right away. The test we took was called the StrengthsFinder assessment, put on by Gallup Incorporated, a research-based performance management consulting firm based out of Washington, D.C. They've been around since 1935, when they were founded by George Gallup and Jim Clifton of Omaha, Nebraska. The assessment we took featured 34 strengths that we answered questions about, and the 5 more prominent ones we learned about, but with an extra 75 bucks you could find out your other 34 strengths, which for us wasn't really worth it. The 5 strengths that featured prominently for me were context, harmony, consistency, inclusion, and developer. To start off, I'll go into context, which is basing decisions off of experiences you've gone through. And for me, that can apply through Kroger, since I've been there 2.5 years and I've seen more or less everything, especially through fry cook and dealing with customers. For me, or in general, it can be applied from a subjective standpoint, but also from an objective one. For an individual with a strength and context can ask about events with an individual and need to know like the timeline that leads up to the event, rather than just like one that comes out of nowhere spontaneously, which is the main downfall for it. A person with a strong sense of context can possess an introspective link between the events that happened to them prior and how they are today, similar to an ongoing timeline, like how we went through in class, the ray of our lives so far. Context-focused individuals are annoyed by impromptu events that lack a history, like I said before. Harmony is pretty straightforward. You avoid conflict and believe that it's pointless and a waste of energy. You look for ways to get everyone to work on the same page and to remain level-headed throughout a project. You try to build a network of people in varying areas of expertise when you are in need of advice. Like for me personally, I find myself like really good at sports knowledge, but like if I lack areas in like history or like how to write a speech, I can reach out to people, and because I don't consider myself the expert in everything, although I wish. This harmony ensures that you have an opportunity to absorb information from differing standpoints and perspectives, so that you can become a well-rounded individual, like how I explained before. If you do happen to find yourself in a situation where there is an argument taking place, usually ask other members of the group to provide their input, in the hopes that multiple voices and opinions should provide common ground for the other group members to relate to, so that you don't end up with just 2 differing standpoints, like a debate, more or less like a discussion, so that hopefully level heads prevail and there isn't any sort of situation that comes out of it. It's relevant to me because I found myself growing up, like my parents constantly arguing, and I would always, like even as a kid, I would try to calm them down and not have them like anything further come out of their arguments. So like I have plenty of experience, more or less you could say context. It's run a little longer, but the consistency is you treat everybody equally, similar to a police officer, like how they give in the video. You don't give anybody preferential treatment. You try to give everybody's input opinions equally, and you couple it with harmony and inclusion, because in a group setting you try to give everybody's opinions equally. A developer is you try to see the potential of everybody, and you try to build them up and reach their peak, similar to how it would work for coaching and teaching, like how you're leading a group of young children. Inclusion is similar to, you're in, like, say if there's one kid sitting at a lunch table by himself, you reach out to the kid and have him sit with you, and try to start a conversation, similar to it, like in a group setting, you have them give their input and have them give their 2 cents, so to speak. And in the end, I found this assessment to be pretty accurate, as I gave examples of, since 3 out of the 5 of the strengths were more focused towards relationship building rather than anything more technical or conceptual. I found myself taking the Myers-Briggs assessment multiple times only to give me a vague description about my general personality traits and tendencies, so it was pretty nice to get an in-depth perspective. In the future, I can find myself applying these in more of a coaching format, since the majority of my strengths are focused towards relationship building, while my other 2 are context and consistency, both strengths that would be useful in coaching 10 to 12-year-olds. In the end, I found this project to be mildly amusing, as I attempted to find ways to accomplish this objective creatively, but I found that a more meat and potatoes based format would be more susceptible or acceptable, so to speak. And that concludes my video. Hopefully it turns out pretty well, since the floor that I'm on just closed, so yeah.